Okay, it is approximately 7:10 p.m. March 23rd. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. We have no minutes other than at the next meeting we should approve all the executive session minutes.
But they have to be approved
In executive session, so we'll have to go into executive session after that and approve them, because I don't think any of them were approved.
No, none of them were.
Okay. But we did approve all the other minutes today, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Other than the one I still have from last month.
Right. That's, to the chief, question. Now, all the minutes that you requested, do you have all the minutes?
I believe so, sir.
Okay. So we're all set with that. Other than if there's any executive session ones, and we can approve them and then we'll get them to you.
Correct. I believe it was for the April meeting anyway, sir.
Oh, okay. The next item, warrants. We don't have any warrants at this time. Seeing we're approving the warrants, I know what I wanted to state, but I'll wait for Kevin Mello. So I'm going to take out of order the update on repairs. Do you have any repairs, Chief, or any bills?
We do, sir. Last month we discussed either getting it out of this year's account for Marine One or putting an article in. We have those prices for it. The procurement officer has already reviewed it and has already approved it. So if we have, it'd be 2 purchase orders. One purchase order would be for West Marine for the sum of $4,050 for all the electronics for Marine One to replace the obsolete electronics that are on the boat. And another purchase order would be for $2405 for South Wharf to remove and install all that equipment.
Can I see those?
Okay. The hope was, Mr. Chair, there was money in the budget. The boat was ready to go in. If that did get approved this evening, Lieutenant Andre would order at least the transducer so they can put it in the boat so the boat can go into the water, and then we do all the rest of the work. If it cannot get approved, then we just have to put an article in the warrant for that amount.
What's the age of the equipment that's on the boat now?
Chief Dumont purchased it when he was chief. So I want to say 15 years, some of it.
At least.
So how old is that boat?
When we purchased this new boat, all the equipment went back on this boat. And the only thing that was purchased, and this boat is probably 5 years old now, about 4 or 5 years, was some of the wiring harnesses that were cut to fit the 17-foot boat. But the radar, depth sounder, sonar, all that on that boat came, Chief Dumont purchased it when he was here.
How does our budget look right now?
Right now, in the support of the district account, we have $200,253.85, with March, April, May, and June remaining 4 months, an average of $50,000, which we have been averaging under $40,000 a month. So there is money in the account. In our individual line item for marine expenses, we estimated $15,000 last year and have spent over $20,000 this year. So that's one of the items we're raising on this year's budget. Yes, there appears that there's money in all of that is voted out of the support of the district account. So there would be money to purchase that. What's the amount, Chief?
Combined, it's approximately $6,000, more or less. Closer to 7.
The fines have been down this year. The payroll has been down substantially. I don't know if there are any other big ticket items coming up in the next several months, but that would make a difference.
Now, this being between the two of them, does this have to go out for a bid, or it's can?
No, the procurement officer. No.
I looked at it, and they've gone out and gotten some prices and looked at them specifically. Basically, both items, they're two separate vendors, so the cost of the equipment is one thing, and then the installation is another. If they were both, if one person was doing both things, that would be over $5,000.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I'm making a motion to accept it.
Okay, motion to approve purchase order 2120 in the amount of $2,405.40. And also purchase order 2121 for $4,050.20. I second that. All in favor? Aye. Do you have any, what else do you have, Chief?
To do an issue, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair. Also, if I don't know what we have in the apparatus maintenance account, engine 2, its large diameter hose, life expectancy is usually 15 years. That also is probably about 20 years old on the truck. We have 3 prices to replace the hose, $46.50 per 1,000 feet, which the procurement officer has also signed off if we have that.
They've gotten bids, 3 bids on it, and this is a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. Now, we have 3 months left. What other equipment are we going to need for the fire apparatus? Is any?
The only thing, that should be it.
Mm-hmm.
That actually we were going to try to do months ago, but a bunch of things came up and we had to get the bids on it. The only other thing, other than the building account, we're looking at to getting fire department IDs for all the members. That can wait till next month, or that can wait for another month till the end of the fiscal year. That's going to be around $2,000.
Like an ID that they will wear when they're...
Correct.
Okay.
The fire department IDs. Because the next items would be out of the building account if the board decides to do it.
I'm making a motion to accept it.
Repeat that.
I'm making a motion to accept it.
Okay, motion made for purchase order 2119 in the amount of $4,650. My second, all in favor?
Aye.
Chief, do you have any other items? How's the basement coming along?
The basement, the carpet's been removed.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lavalette stopped us, I want to say last Friday. The dehumidifier was back ordered, so that's en route. In the meantime, we had Mr. Medeiros meet with different contractors in regards to getting a price to fix the wall and getting a price to redo the floor down in the basement. We have the prices for the wall. We're working on getting prices for your board for next week to do the complete basement, to do the insulation on top after the roof is done, replace any of the tiles. Since the roof and the trim's going to get done, have the exterior, the north wall and west wall painted. So we're working on getting prices for your next week's meeting. But in the meantime, Joe and Dara met with these 2 individuals. I will get the material for you. He's recommended the low price. He's recommended this company to do it. And the difference between both companies, I believe, DuPont or Dupree, or whatever the name is.
With the Global, are they doing are they doing the walls and the floor with the Global?
No. What Global is doing is they're doing 2 parts. I have it. It's a certain like PVC material. What they do is they trench the floor.
Yep.
Then they take this PVC material and they put a skin on the entire wall. They're going to actually do this red part here.
Right.
The entire wall. They will guarantee it more that you will not get no leaks.
Okay.
Any water that does come in, they'll hit that barrier and trench out.
Okay.
The other company, their recommendation is what they do is they groove the cuts, drill several holes, and fill it in with the material that they have. Mr. Medeiros is recommended the first company. He's recommended the first company. He's more confident. I apologize. He's more confident with the first company.
What about the floor? We're going to put an epoxy on the floor?
What he's doing is he's actually looking at some type of tile that if it gets damaged, they have to use it in the school. That if it gets damaged, it can get wet. It's mold resistant. But if it gets damaged, all you do is heat it up, peel it off, and stick down. We actually have him working on getting a price to do the entire basement and also to get a price to do this first floor that your board discussed last year in case you got decided to get done. But for
Why don't we just get a price also to epoxy the floor, because we don't even use, no one really uses that basement that often. So why don't we get a price for the tile and a price to just epoxy the floor, the whole basement.
He actually, when he was peeling it up, that was his exact idea, was to epoxy it like you do a garage floor. It has a big expansion joint running down the middle. And what the company's going to actually do is they got to do a trench along the wall to do that half, and he doesn't know what's underneath the linoleum. But that was one of his suggestions, and that's to bring to your board for your next meeting is to epoxy the floor.
Okay.
So you're going to get different prices on how to do the floor and also a price to put the wall back up, because he's confident with that company that you have there that he can build his wall and do sheetrock with the proper insulation.
Why do we want to go in? I mean, once we seal it and it's a basement and we don't really use that basement that often, why do we even have to sheetrock it and just leave it the way it is? And
if not, we're going to have to rechange the tiles. The tiles don't go all the way to the wall.
Yeah.
There's a gap there. So
it might be better off just
we can do that.
add the tile, because it's really a workout room. It's not like it was used 10, 15 years ago. I don't think really anyone really uses that room. And just if we don't sheetrock it, then we never have to worry about any mold getting behind it. Even though they're guaranteeing it, you never know.
That's what the game plan is for next week's meeting. Is we'll come back with a different flooring and a different wall. If you do approve that particular, as soon as you go down the basement, the flight of stairs, that is white. Once it's put up, then we're going to paint it red so it matches the rest of the basement.
So they can start on this right away?
Correct. And that would come out of the building account.
This company meets all our insurance requirements, like as we were talking about for doing the roof. As far as they start digging out there and they rip any pipes or anything.
They're not digging outside. What they're going to do is along the foundation wall, they're just going to open it up a little, so any water will go in between there.
Am I reading this right? That the building account, we had $45,000 appropriated. We've already expended 33.
You have $11,913 left.
Okay.
get it done, so faster the
Right.
better.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to
Motion to approve global basement waterproofing for the amount of $979.
accept it. Approve.
Make a
I'm
motion.
making a motion. to accept.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The other thing we have, Mr. Chairman, is the back shed. I have it somewhere. There was a quote of $2,000 to fix the back shed,
Mhm.
to detach it, lift it, remove all the rotted wood, fill it, new concrete floor with a proper pitch.
All right, so they're going to remove
reattach
it. All right, they'll remove it and they'll cement it, right? We'll have a cement?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you have that with you?
I have it somewhere, Mr. Chairman. I think I left it back in my office. We can have that for you next week's meeting, if you like.
Well, you can just get it. We're still kind of waiting for Kevin, so if you can get it, we can just take care of it right now.
Chairman, for his information, the roofing bid went out last week on the
Great.
14th. It's due, the bid opening at 4:30 on Thursday, April 14th. It should be in the standard times. I'm not sure if it is today or not, but it was supposed to be in before the 25th of this month in the standard times. And it is also in the central register of the state. That's going in on 3/30/2011.
Okay, great.
All of that is obviously 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks prior to bid opening. So
Right.
it's all compliant.
It also has just two different ones there, Mr. Chair. One is, they also included the stone wall. The repairs of the stone wall, but we're going to put the stone wall, there's two different ones. The total tear down of the stone wall and to rebuild the stone wall that's there now.
I wasn't just peeking that.
But we were doing the stone wall for an hour,
Right, we have to. This is,
but that's for the shed.
well, we have an estimate here, and one is for the, remove the existing wall. Another one is to fix it. But also on these two estimates is to remove the shed. Like the chief was saying, put a cement base, and then put the shed back. And on both estimates, it's for $2,000. So the other two items, as far as the wall, it looks like it's going to be under 30B anyways. So right now, before is we can take care of the shed because it's 2,000. It's under the.
Right. Would you like to hold off maybe till you're already running short on your building account?
What other? We have 12 weeks left. What other items might we have coming up?
Utilities every month. Right now, this past month, we spent $9,800 on fixing doors. In our typical monthly expenses, we've been averaging about $4,500 a month.
For average expense. Okay, let's hold off till next meeting on this. Because we'll have basically right now after approving.
Well, your heat's going down. I mean,
Yeah.
everything should be going down.
Right, it's gonna be-
Electricity, the heat, but
But we're kind of close because we're under 10,000 now.
in a It's also probably not,
210.
I don't know if it's an emergency.
Okay. So we're going to hold off on this, Chief, until next. I would say the meeting in April or the second Wednesday. We'll hold off.
If you want, Mr. Chairman, to serve your board, I'll just put main reasons as a whole. I'll just put a patch over the whole and we'll wait till the,
Well, we might have
June
enough.
meeting.
Well, we might have enough. Yeah, we might have enough.
That's fine.
We should just
I'll
make
cover
sure
it
it's
up. I'll have it covered up tomorrow.
okay.
And then we'll bring it back.
All right. Kevin Mello's here at approximately 7:30. What we've gone over so far is basically the minutes. We didn't have any to approve. We've approved all our minutes other than the last meeting. But the executive session minutes, we haven't approved quite a few. So
Okay.
the next meeting we have, we'll go into executive session. Linda will bring us the minutes and we will approve them. We'll
Okay.
review them, okay? And just now we went over some, and then I asked the chief if he received all his minutes that he was looking for, that he requested, and he said he's all set with everything.
Okay.
And then now we've just gone over some purchase orders that we had to, that we've approved. So that's it. Right now we're going to move forward. Okay.
Very good. These are your copies.
Oh, good. Okay. And I took that out of order, the update repairs. Now we're going to go back to approve the warrants. We don't have any warrants to approve, but I wanted to mention something to the board, and I think my board members probably already know this from our last meeting. As a chairman, I received a couple of letters in the month of February, and they were time sensitive. We had to, the Prudential Committee had to respond to them with a certain amount of time. So although we've, our counsel, our legal counsel that the district has used in the past and still using is Partridge, Snow and Hahn. I tried reaching legal counsel, but there one of our individuals that I deal with was on vacation, and the other one had some personal issues going on. So I didn't get a response from them right away. So I took the initiative to contact legal counsel that the town uses, and I feel not only is it good that it's separate because he's representing the Prudential Committee. We have some ongoing litigation that the other firm is representing. So it might be better that we separate the two. So at this point, I would like to see if my members, how they feel about that, and if they want to approve from this point forward of using that firm for any other issues we have for the Prudential Committee, and also if, with any bills that come, from them.
I'm making a motion to accept it. I second it for discussion.
Discussion?
So we're using them for that issue.
Well, we're using
For
any issues that come up with the Prudential Committee,
Okay.
as a board.
Okay.
I mean, we also we also been using the other firm too.
Right.
So
right.
we're actually using
just
both.
adding. Okay.
But what happened was, as chairman, the board received some time-sensitive.
Sure.
We had to respond. We had one complaint. It was an open meeting violation complaint. We had 14 days to respond. And we had another letter come from, an attorney that someone, had as legal counsel, and we had to respond.
Okay.
So I took the initiative to use at least the town council.
Right.
And I still also, as a board, we still use our other.
Correct.
I think it's probably better that we have two firms representing. And his
there was
for the record.
Michael Murray, we also have a potential conflict because of our representation of the district in regards to the two matters that the chairman was referring to, the potential conflict that we cannot get involved in.
And actually,
Discuss that with the
Attorney
chairman.
Murray and I
Okay.
discussed this even before this issue came up. We discussed it that if we do have any issues, I'm going to have to, we're going to have to get
Yeah, and
other outside representation.
And
Just so
I
happens it
indicated
came
that
up.
We didn't feel comfortable representing because we thought it might be a conflict under our rules of professional responsibility conduct.
So, motion on the floor, seconded. All in favor to, continue using the firm of, Anthony Sevastano for now and the future. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next. Okay, well, the next item I have, it's obviously the articles that are going to be placed on the warrant. But prior to that, I'm going to take out of order discussion for the bylaws election. So Ed, you have a...
Yeah, well, apparently we had a wrong date given to us by the clerk's office for certification, so once I heard about it, I contacted Mr. Murray. He reacted quickly, and we got an answer back, and everything was resolved before we had any big issues, so this allowed someone to get their papers in time, so everything worked out well.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I make the recommendation, because I got a feeling it could have come up in the first time, that maybe the Prudential Committee thinks about changing the bylaws and rephrase the section of the bylaw. If anybody wants to submit any articles for the warrant, they have 60 days prior to the warrant. Anyone that wants to submit nomination papers are due 45 days prior. That way it's cleared up, and if the Prudential Committee, instead of having the Prudential Committee meet every second Wednesday of the month, change that the officers of the district shall meet when necessary.
I think
to kind of clean up everything.
I think actually, us as a board should actually look at quite a few items. And looking at and reviewing the bylaw, and I reviewed it, and legal counsel did. The bylaw, as you know, Mike, is we need some changes, I think. And whether we form a committee to review the bylaws, especially the election. I know on the election, though, the nomination papers have to be in 45 days prior, I think, and then it's only 2 days prior to that for certification. And the town is a little bit different. The town runs for certification, I think, 14 days. Now that's a different, but that's a statute though. That's something. Yeah, that's a statutory provision that we cannot change. I think, I actually have a copy of the nomination papers where, as a matter of fact, the clerk was right. He said the nomination they have to be submitted by March 21st, but certified March 19th. According to the statute, that is correct.
What happened was the clerk letter on the calendar
Right.
that went out.
On the calendar.
was wrong. That was a mistake. That was the date that was given to us, and that was the wrong.
Right.
Not the dates on the nomination were correct,
Yes.
but the calendar was wrong. But we corrected it, and
Yeah.
but I think that not just that. I think probably we've had one years ago. In fact, I served on years ago. We had a bylaw study committee. Maybe it's time to look
Right.
at the bylaw. 4 or 5 people or so review them and come back at the next annual meeting with changes that have to be made. But I think all our bylaws probably should be looked at.
And we don't have enough time right now, but I think if it would be up to this board, or maybe at the annual district, and Mike, seeing you're here, how would we implement, say, a study committee to review all the bylaws?
The annual meeting would be the best forum
Right.
to do that and put it on as an article to establish a charter or a bylaw review committee and have that voted, and then you could put in some kind of mechanism where people could volunteer, or somebody's going to name it the chair of the Prudential Committee, or whoever you choose, just name, or you could say the clerk of the district will nominate 2 people, the Prudential Committee will nominate 2. However you want to structure it, you certainly have that freedom to structure that in internal governance matter.
Great.
And then have that committee constituted, have them meet. We may want to think about at least having one public session where people can come in and give their own thoughts to this committee, and then have them report back to the district with their proposed changes.
Great.
And the last time it was done at the annual meeting. In fact, Randy Weeks was the moderator at the time, and the motion was made that he appointed, and he asked for
That's right, he
volunteers.
was the moderator and he
Names came
appointed.
back with names, and out of that list, in fact, I think we had a beg from them, so there were enough people to volunteer to be on it, so.
Oh, you didn't?
It was tough to get names, but we got them.
Okay.
I think there was only 3 people on the committee the last time we did it.
Okay, our warrants. Well, articles for the warrant. Ed?
Okay, number 1 stays the same. Let's choose the moderator. Now, on the second one, you're proposing raises for firefighters and lieutenant stuff? No?
Yes.
Okay, Chief. What is the trainee rate?
They're on that sheet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, why don't I just bring these spreadsheets out right now. This sheet right here, and this is the spreadsheet that we worked on with the chief and the deputy. And we also have, this evening we've already handed out these sheets. I don't know if you got them. Kevin.
Right. Kevin didn't.
This one right here, that's what we have remaining in our budget for fiscal year 11.
Yep.
And if you need, this is the detail from our computer system, our software that breaks down every line item. So if you have any questions on the line items. This sheet right here shows you Article 3, support of the district. It's actually broken down to 20 or so separate line items, and then followed by Article 4, officers' salaries, the building account, and then prior year articles. So it gives you a lot of the past detail. We have what was appropriated in 2010 and 2011, what was expended in all of 2010, and what's expended to date through for 2011. And on the furthest column on the right, the estimated 2012 based on those expended figures. And you also see there's also, if you look at the where it says 66.67% of the year, those are the months that we had already covered, for the bills we had already paid, and the percentages underneath that percent, 66%, are what we've already spent. So you can see some of those are 21%, 61%. Then we have some articles that have gone over, and if you look at the right-hand column, you'll notice that the articles that we've already gone over, we might have raised, and some of the others that we're low on, we might have reduced.
Okay, question to the chief. On the firefighter trainees, it was $15 last year. I'm looking over here at the proposed salary increases, but I don't see the firefighter trainee. I do see over here recruits.
The recruits.
All right, so we're going to go from 15 to 17?
Correct.
So should that read trainees or recruits?
They call them recruits now in the academy. That's why it's changed.
So we'll change the wording from firefighter trainees to firefighter recruits.
The names and the amounts, at one time, everyone was paid the same rate years ago. Firefighters, recruits, trainees, whatever you wanted to call them, all get the same pay. And they're trying to break those down into, as you'll see, as you go through those, the chief can explain.
What's a firefighter right now? Is that considered step 1 or step 2?
Well, right now, every firefighter doesn't make a difference what their training is. They all get the same rate.
Okay.
At the last meeting, the Prudential Committee had talked about possibly doing different pays for the different members, depending on their qualifications. In talking to the treasurer, that became very difficult. So the way we broke it down was a step 1 firefighter meets all the requirements of the rules of the department, rules and regulations, and is qualified to drive every piece of apparatus in the fire station.
Okay.
A step 2 firefighter meets all the rules and regulations, but they cannot drive all the apparatus.
So we're going from $19 to $22.
Correct, but you're
And
also...
I understand that. So 19, 22, and anyone who doesn't meet that criteria is going to go to 20.
20, correct.
What's the percentage of step 1, and what's the percentage of step 2 of the
The
firefighters?
treasurer and I did that. I'd have to look at the roll call sheet, maybe 60% step 1.
It's more of your new recruits. There are people that have been on the department for 15, 20 years that aren't qualified on every piece of apparatus.
They're not or are?
They aren't.
They are not.
They're not. Right.
Because, I mean, I just want to know, because if it's 80%, we're moving from $19 to $22, which is a substantial percentage.
One of the reasons for, if I may,
You can't close it all the way. Just open it.
it's going to get loud.
All right.
One of the reasons were, Mr. Chairman, is that the dispatchers last year went to $18 an hour, and the firefighters were $19. The requirement for the dispatchers, they are considered civilian dispatchers. They don't have to complete training. Well, they had to do their training. The first aid, CPR, defibrillator. And they were getting $18 an hour compared to a firefighter who is getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going out and fight a fire. They were only making $1 more. So what we did was we broke the span, just like right now the captain, we only have one captain compared to a couple of years ago we had 3 captains.
So what's the dispatcher? Are they going to go up this year?
No. Dispatchers are staying at 18.
Okay.
Chief, I have a question for you. Are we still going to keep the house captains? What rate are they going to get?
The house captain's going to stay what the house captain is now.
At a rate of 21, at 21.
Correct. The house captain is going to remain.
Okay, so do we list it just as, line captains and house captains?
Correct. It should be line captain,
Okay.
that fee, house captain.
But the house captain's staying at 21 and the
Correct.
other one will go up.
Correct.
Is there an extra warrant down there?
Huh?
An extra warrant down there?
Yeah. So, all right, the lieutenant is going to go from 20 to 24. How many lieutenants?
7 lieutenants.
7?
It
I'm
also changes through this is through the years, the officers have a lot more responsibility, a lot more requirements than what they've ever had.
Okay.
Now, what's the duty guys get?
The duty guys would get the detail rate,
$18 an hour?
18 an hour. Is what they would get.
What are they getting now?
15.
They get the 15 like everybody else does.
So duty's going to go from 15 to 18?
We really need that? Guy here all day long?
Yeah, we can show the statistics on it. One of the reasons were, for years we had garage duty, tower duty. We did away with garage duty and tower duty because we got the duty guy. We can show the statistics. We'll bring it in for the next meeting that with the individual here during the day from 8 to 4, the truck will roll out of the station within 5 to 6 minutes. Without the individual here during the day,
Yeah, but one guy in the truck can't do nothing anyone's car. What was the total expense for duty guys of this year so far? Do you know? Anybody have an idea?
I could get it for you, I don't have it with me.
because if you take the duty guy away, then we got to add in, if it gets approved, go back and put 2 guys in here on Sundays doing garage duty and 3 guys in here on Sunday doing power duty.
So how many duty
There's one
personnel?
guy. We have a individual in the fire station, not on holidays, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. They are in the station from 8 to 4:30,
7 days a week?
7 days a week. If we cannot fill the shift, we don't put somebody in the station.
If you filled it every day, a day shift every day with one firefighter, it would be $43,800. It's $120 a day for the person who stays.
So we only have one detail person during the day here then?
Correct.
How much is that?
$43,800. That's to have one person in the station every day of the year.
Right.
And prior to that, Chief, you said there were 5 people on Saturdays and
Well,
Sundays?
Sundays, correct. 5.
5.
Correct.
So 5 times the rate times
Well, they weren't
52.
here, Mr. Mello, for 8 hours. They were here for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, back then they used to do it voluntarily. They didn't get paid neither. They came in and did it for nothing. Just like at one point in time when they drilled, they never got paid to drill.
Right.
Now
Well,
we pay them to drill.
I can tell you this, and Chief Dumont's here for as long as I can remember. Garage duty and tower duty was paid. The only thing that wasn't paid, Mr. Sylvie's correct, is training. Now the members do get paid for training. But
What-
The main issue to it, and the reason it was brought to the table, was because there were times during the day that we didn't have members showing up in the truck.
But that's primarily Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
It all depends. It all depends.
Okay, so we have one duty personnel here. Does that duty personnel stay on location all times, other than if there's a fire?
99% of the time.
Okay.
Like tomorrow, he's going to run to Bob's.
Right.
We're going to take 5.
Right.
But they
I
don't.
understand that. But does that duty, does he or she, do they do inspections?
They were starting to take them with us to do inspections because we lost our other inspector. We're actually going to post somebody
Right.
to do it.
How many inspectors do we have?
Technically, 1.
Okay, one.
Can we make that a qualification to do, if you're gonna do garage duty, to be
Wait,
qualified as
how
an
many
inspector?
inspections, what's the average number of inspections we have a year?
We have, I can get you the figure for.
Yeah, I'd like to.
It's got to be pretty low now with the real estate turnover, so
Well, it is.
versus 3 years ago, 4 years
It's not
ago.
only that, it's all commercial properties.
Right.
Education has to be done.
But that remains consistent, where the number of home sales in the district
But
fluctuates.
Correct, but the district's also one of the only districts that do walkthroughs. So if you're doing construction on your house, we go out and we'll do the placement for those, for the proper smoke detectors and have them on
Can,
site.
can you get us that information for, I guess we're meeting again next week probably. So just, yeah, I'd like to know how many inspections we do.
I can get you a ballpark.
Let me see, inspection.
Next Wednesday.
Well, I didn't know until I arrived at the
Okay.
meeting today, but,
Well, maybe you should explain to them why, because the chief's got a couple items he wants to put out to get bids on, right, chief?
Correct, for the building.
Okay. I know I can't be here next
well,
Wednesday.
it's just,
but
it's gonna be on,
if we do it at 2, another night meeting.
yeah, we
All
can,
right.
I mean, I think it's just gonna be a
If it's
general on
quick
building.
thing, That's fine.
So, you have a duty officer, and then you also have someone that does inspections.
No. What we have is we have a duty member in the station.
Right,
The chief's the guy that does the inspection.
okay, so you're doing the inspections.
We're doing the inspections. What
You and the deputy? Or just you?
chief's doing the inspection.
Okay, you're doing inspections.
What we've been doing is, like, we're going to be out of the office the beginning of April. So what we've been doing is we'll take the duty guy and do like placements of smoke detectors or houses that are selling. They'll call. That way, there won't be no glitch in the system. So if I'm not there to do it, the duty guy knows the house, knows the broker, knows the contractor. They can go ahead and do it. They don't have to wait for us.
Whoever does the inspections, do they have to have any type of
The
education on it, or to
and
conduct?
that's why we lost our inspectors. The department passed it last year that they had to be pro board certified.
Okay, so if you passed it, you have to make sure that whoever you send out there
Correct.
is pro board. And then the other, it's not. It could be a firefighter, it could be a civilian. Is someone who dispatches here during the day, correct? Do we have a dispatcher?
There's a fire.
All right, so they come when there's a fire.
But what the duty guy's doing is, it's posted every day. They have a different task.
Okay.
Everything from maintaining the fire apparatus to cleaning the fire station, the beautification outside.
So you don't-
training they do every day.
So basically, I mean, you don't have 5 duty.
One
You
person.
only have one. Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions on? Does any of the board members have any questions on any of the topics I've just asked, or any additional?
We're on Article 2, correct?
Yes, we're still on there. We haven't moved
Okay.
for it.
All right.
I just need, as we're going along, I'm just asking information.
I'm probably going to be the least popular guy in the building in a minute, but you're looking at 20% increases on the captains, the lieutenants. I don't have a calculator, but that just seems, in this day and age, any increase is going to be looked at closely. Nevertheless, a 20% from $20 to $24, and maybe my math is wrong. Is that 20%?
Yeah.
One of the things, the firefighters haven't received a raise in several years. They haven't. That's one.
Okay.
Two, we tried opening up the gap. There's nothing saying that gap can't come down. We tried doing a $2 gap in between a captain and a lieutenant, and a $2 gap between a lieutenant. Next year, we wouldn't be coming back to the table and asking for the raises for the members.
See, my concern is, I mean, this board, we can put it on the warrant, but when it goes before the people, it might get, if they realize it's a 20% increase, it just might get shut down right across the board. Whereas
it would remain what it is now.
Right. Whereas if you gave 5% or 7 or even 10, it might pass. I just wouldn't want to, for the firefighters, I wouldn't want to see us put a 20% out there, and then all of a sudden we have a meeting, and it gets right across the board cut down.
We can.
I'd rather see the firefighters get an increase, but one that's going to pass the district, especially in the economic times we're at, and people are losing their jobs, not getting increases. I think the police is at a freeze right now, and
our biggest hurdle is the dispatchers. Because the dispatchers technically, like I said, we're making $1 less than the firefighters and $2 less than the officers.
And I understand that.
That's where.
Well, maybe the dispatchers should have been making less.
They just went up last year.
And
the firefighters said, look, if it's all right with your board, I'll meet with the treasurer. We'll crunch some more numbers. We'll drop it down. Because I agree.
Well,
I hate for us to go to the floor and have the voters.
I just don't want the voters to be out there and say, "Hey, wait a second. How can you possibly put out there a 20% increase?"
Maybe if they won't look at it as a 20% increase, they'll look at it at a $24 an hour captain. And there's one captain, and if he made 300 fires, he'd make $1,200 more that year.
All I'm saying is, if I was a voter out there, I can do the math, and I think we're in a very educated area that I think a lot of the voters can do the math.
One thing though, I think that we're very happy, good to have guys that we have here. If what they work for, I think we're still getting one heck of a bargain. I don't think people really object to it because they do a heck of a job finding buyers.
I don't object to it. I just don't want to see it go out there, and then all of a sudden, someone raises the issue, and the voters just slice and dice it. So, I mean, we can put on the increases now, and then just think about it, Chief. Along with John.
That's not up to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have this finalized. We have to make a decision.
Well, we're meeting also next week. We can put
we
it
have
on
to do it
now.
by next week. I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to have to be decided next week because I have a deadline to get the Chronicle and stuff, so we don't have much time to mess around.
We discussed that at the last meeting.
That was for that. What were you talking about the other one?
No, I'm just asking, did you set the salary?
We
Yeah.
discussed at the last meeting with a procurement officer what the rate was going to be.
That wasn't in, when the treasurer and I did the budget, that wasn't included.
So we're gonna have to include
so
that.
that has to get included.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, I don't have that.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
would that
What was
go
the
under
rate?
$35.
$35 an hour for the procurement officer.
Mm-hmm.
What does the clerk make for your minutes?
30.
$30 an hour.
Now, would his salary have to come out of the support of the district?
Yes.
Procurement would have to come out of support.
Yeah, support of the
We'd
district.
have to add enough in there to make sure that there was money for him under the support of the district then, right?
Yes, and there should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many hours you estimate.
It's kind of hard because you never know what's coming up.
Right. Big projects take
a
longer.
big project like the roof, that takes a little more time.
I think that in the district, the largest project we'd have right now in the next 12 months is basically the roof.
Right. We won't be buying another fire engine. We just went through
Right.
that.
So you have to look at the future in the next 12 months because we have, this is for a fiscal year, and say, okay, what do we possibly have coming ahead of us? The fire apparatus we took care of. We have the roof that we're taking care of.
And what are the other districts, Kai?
35.
35, okay. So we're in line with the other
Yeah.
districts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we can just put, an estimated figure, just figure it out, come to us next, John and the chief and
It's not up to me.
myself.
Not up to me.
Yeah, I don't know how many hours.
Yeah, again, that's the other thing. It depends on, as I
Well, I'll tell you what,
before,
just-
it all depends on what the Prudential Committee wants, how far the Prudential Committee wants to. If you want to do it by 30B, by the way it says, there's a little time in that. No, I think 16 or 17 hours since I was appointed in December. And a lot of that was, rewriting and the roof bid and so on and so forth. Other things, reviewing bids and checking bids and getting bids on various things. But again, it all depends on how you want to do it.
Right.
If you want to do it by what the state calls for, then it may be a little time, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be. It's not going to be 20 hours a week at even
Right.
10 hours. Again, it all depends on what's required.
Well, if you've already put 20 hours on the roof project, I'm sure we could maybe figure, maybe allocate maybe $50 hours for the year and start off that like that. At least we have that cushion in there for the supported district.
Yeah.
So I'll take some numbers and figure it out, and then,
And that number won't start until July, which by then the
Right.
roof should be done.
yeah. So maybe we should allocate maybe 50 hours.
I feel
Because
comfortable
I,
with
as
that.
one member, I'm sure, I can't speak for the other members, want everything done right, especially for 30B.
Well, that's exactly right.
So if you have to spend the time to do some research, I would definitely want you to do the research.
Exactly. And I had. That's what I had.
Right.
'Cause I wanted to write.
Okay. So
So we
should-
would add
should we-
1750 to support of the district, whatever amount we have here. The 575 estimated for 2012 would go to 576.5 at this point.
Okay.
Okay, this is support of the district. Can that be broken down, like as far as categories, as far as which goes into pay and which goes into?
Yeah, it's
Is
right.
that what?
Yeah.
that's all that's right there?
Yeah.
First, a complete breakdown.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could just round it off and just say 15,000 in there.
1,500.
I mean 1500.
Right now, 50 times 35
Right.
is 1750.
1750.
So if you're going to round, you should probably round
Round
it
it
to
to 2,000. Yeah. So is there a motion on the floor to?
Well, I think we should continue discussing it so that we can tweak these numbers, make one motion on the total
Okay.
final amount. But right now, we're up to.
So back to Article 2. So the trainee will be at
17.
17. The firefighter will be
Step one will be
122.
22.
Step 2 would be 20.
20. The
Lieutenant,
will be
24.
Captain, 26.
26.
And detail, 18.
18. Okay, let's go to
Okay.
Article.
And that's how you're going to leave it, or you're going to make some change?
Well, we're gonna, as one of the board members said, let's just go through the articles
And you're going to go back?
and, yeah.
Yeah,
we-
because that's going to affect our final tally
Right.
for support of the district.
It's already included in the.
Right, but if we make any adjustments
Yeah.
going forward,
Okay, so Article 3, how much do you want to put in for support of the district? We had 575.
So it's up, what, 15,000 from last year?
Yep, yeah. It was
Right.
560 last year.
Right, so it'll be up 15,000.
including this.
How do the board members feel about that? Article 3, last year, supported district was 560,000. This year, what's presented to us is 575,000. It's up 15,000.
570, yeah,
Yeah,
but it just went up to 577.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, getting a firm number. If we vote on 577,
Right.
Well, that's adding the 2,000 for the procurement.
that's right.
Part of the reason that that number stayed the same, or basically the same, was the number of fires, number of incidents is slightly lower, but the number of people showing up to fires, number of firefighters showing up is down substantially over the last several years. So right now we're at 66 or 67% of the year done. We're at 46% on that budget, which was appropriated last year.
So
We're
things
estimating $235,000 with
Right.
those increases, which would be equal to what was appropriated in 2010.
So if things go crazy in the second part of the year, or the last part of the year, that number could be blow right up.
Sure. If we had a lot of house fires or something
Sure.
like that.
Okay. But as long as it didn't go over 265, we're
Yeah, you're at
Within
120.
budget.
We've expended through almost
122 of 265.
right.
I actually think we should raise it more than 575 or the 577. And looking ahead into the next fiscal year, if you look at line item 6540,
Yeah.
I mean, that item is going to go up.
Well, that line item, this starts July 1st.
So we're going to go over budget on that line item.
We went over
I was
budget the year
thinking this
before.
year.
Yeah.
The year before, fiscal year
Every year we're
2010,
Yeah.
we were over budget by about 100%.
The whole thing is we keep on adding, we're going up 20% on the pay. We're going to add to 6540. Where are we going to trim? I mean, it's easy to keep adding, but sooner or later, it's the taxpayers that are paying for it. And
Oh, I understand,
We're just
but-
passing it on, so we need to.
Well, that's why I say
Trim.
last year was $560,000, and the way it was presented was up to $575,000. There are line items that have gone down, and if you look at the last two columns, it will show you what the percentages are.
And I know you said, well, we can put it out there, but if people from the district, the only people that are going to be that vote in the district that come in are the people that are here.
Right.
We don't get outsiders, so whatever we put on the warrant is what's, 90% what's going to go through as is.
It's really up to
So
you guys.
it's
anyway.
really up to us to say, we got to trim this, we got to trim that, let's add to this. And to say, well, it could get voted down, it's not going to get voted down. 20% increase is not.
Did you figure out on the increase, what it might be?
That's what we did. That's what the 235 is.
But this year we're under.
Right.
So if we have, say we just had as many calls as we did in fiscal year 2010, that 235 could just move up drastically.
Sure. If there were a lot more calls and a lot more people
Right.
started showing up, it could go up, absolutely.
So what I really feel uncomfortable is, I feel uncomfortable if we put out a support of the district and we're underfunded. Because right now, this year, we had a good year for fiscal year 2011.
Yeah, last 2 years we came in
So
under
far.
budget.
Yeah, we came in under budget. I mean, appropriated for call firefighters, we have 265,000. We've only spent 122.
Right. Yeah, fiscal year 2010, we appropriated When I say
235.
appropriated, it's a support of the
Right.
district line item, and these are our individual line items that we look at.
But that's our
So we-
largest expense.
We calculated $235,000, and we spent $194,000 for the whole fiscal year.
Right.
And this year, we raised that because we had a duty man and a full-time person in there to 265, and we've spent 122
Right.
through 67% of the year.
So what we're doing is, for fiscal year 2012, we're actually, what's
With the
before us is 235, which is what we appropriated in 2010. But yeah, if we have this increase of 20%, I don't want to have an increase and then all of a sudden we're underfunded, because there's two line items that I'm focused on, and that's
But the-
that's 6670, and also the legal, which is 6540. Those two are really unpredictable right now.
The increase that's being proposed is for the smaller percentage of the people within the district. It's not for right across the board. You have fewer lieutenants,
Right.
captains.
With one cap.
So
But that's,
so what's the estimate of
Yeah, I guess that's
that's
important
that's
too.
important.
I should be
Like,
asking that.
what's the what's the estimate? Like when we increase this, say 20%. Is this actually
That's one
allocated
person.
in that 235?
yes.
Okay.
So that's only one person. Is there a dollar amount associated with that, with these
We
increases?
looked at the number of calls, we looked at the number of people. Actually, the chief made the changes,
Okay.
the increases, and I ran the numbers. And the deputy was involved, I don't know if he's in the room. But that 235 was estimated using those increases. What you have here was the proposed budget. Altogether, the estimate was $15,000, everything included. Now, you're correct, the legal fees have been the wild card for a while. That affects a lot.
See, back to the 6670, the salaries. It would be great if we would only appropriate 235,000, which is what we appropriated in 2010, with everyone getting a raise. Has the call volume gone? Is it at a
Slightly
decrease
reduced, yes.
every single year, maybe, or
Slightly.
slightly? So as one member, I wouldn't want to all of a sudden have a large surprise that, sure, we gave this increase, which I'm not against. I think that the firefighters deserve it. And especially if it's only going to cost us $235, which is $30,000 less than what we appropriated last year. I have no problem with that.
That's how that's been working out. And once again, it is really your call.
Yeah. Well, what
These
happens?
are just estimated or
what-
proposed figures.
Right.
But,
What happens if we're underfunded?
well, what could also happen is maybe you might get more people that show up to fires. We've been getting a lot of fires, a lot of incidents that I see on roll call sheets with less than 10 guys that show up to a call on a regular basis. At one time, 10 years ago, we would have had, I haven't seen a roll call sheet go by me with 30 people on it in years, but we had those years ago. We'd have 30 people that might show up to a call on a Saturday. We have not had that for quite a while.
Mr. Chairman, also, if I may, sir. The Prudential Committee, last year, when we were having this discussion on the budget, when we went to duty individual for 7 days a week, the Saturday and Sunday, that was one of the buffers. That if the budget for the firefighters, the salaries started becoming an issue, we would drop the Saturdays and
Well,
Sundays.
that's what that's my next question is, if we appropriate, if we go up to 20%, we appropriate 235. As I mentioned, my concern is a year from now, whether I'm a member or not, or whoever's here, if we're underfunded and we don't have any money anymore, what do? We have to cut. at that point, we'd have to cut maybe the duty officer.
Well,
We'd have to,
that was the agreement, Mr. Chairman, last year with the Prudential Committee. When we went to 7 days a week, that if we had to cut, that would be the first thing to get cut. What that would help out in the budget if needed, I honestly couldn't tell you, because it depends if it's going to go the 18 or the 15. But that was the first thing that was agreed upon to remove, was that individual on the Saturday and Sunday.
okay. I'm just looking down here, all the other line items, and I don't see possibly where else we could cut. Because of just the call firefighters, that's about 50% of our budget. Of the support of the district. Our next largest expense is our insurance. We can't cut there.
That'll be about the same thing this year.
Right. County retirement, can't cut there.
That's already a set figure.
Right. We can't cut in legal fees. That is what it is.
Okay.
How do you feel?
No, that's fine. If it's going to come out of the duty, it's the same thing as it was 2 years ago. I feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
Okay, so.
We're down 30,000.
Joe?
I just don't want to come up short.
Yeah.
I don't want to come up short.
Well, if we are coming up short, like the chief said, you're just going to have to cut. Do it.
But where is that line going to be?
Well, you know, a year from
when
now.
you're going to say, whoa, okay, it's time to cut back.
Well,
These sheets that you get
every month we want it.
every month you
we
get
know
one
what
of
the
these
salary is.
sheets. And it says the remaining balance.
Right. So you're just going to have to watch it.
I don't know what to tell you. Do I think it's outrageous for those positions? No.
No.
Can we go into everything else?
No, I don't think it's outrageous. I don't think the board or myself is saying that. I just don't want to. I don't want to be put in a position where it's underfunded.
Right.
Whether we give the raise or not. I'm just looking here at a budget in front of me, saying, okay, this is what it's basically what we're estimating. We're estimating. My concern is last year we appropriated $265,000. This year we're only appropriating $235,000 with a 20% increase.
Right.
So that's, to me, is a slippery slope, because I really do not want to be underfunded for the firefighters. I actually think if we don't move that figure up, that amount, then we should definitely move the legal up. Because it seems like in 2010 it was a 100% increase. In 2011 it looks like it's close to what we appropriated. Although, actually that might go up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we're only three-quarters of the way through the year.
Yeah, exactly. In the next 3 months, I mean, our legal fees could be, right now it's
Better times are ahead. That number will drop.
I don't think so, but. So, do any of my board members feel that we should move any of these line items up? These are just
what happens to your
estimated.
budget when?
None?
What happens to your budget when we go over? Like last year, we were over by 50%.
It's actually not my budget. I just put the numbers together when requested. If you go over, there is what we have in this budget this year, the reserve fund.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a $37,000 buffer, $37,500 budget.
That's all we have in the reserve fund?
That's all we're allowed to have in it for this year we're in. You're allowed a percentage of your levy.
That's right.
This year, I think I have for this year coming, 40,000, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
You have that, 40,000?
so I actually,
And we haven't, we used, the only thing we used last year, I think, was $50 for the building account to get out of the building. So out of the 37,000 that we had last year, we used $50 of it.
So where did the
Actually-
additional $30,000 for legal fees come from last year?
This is
or in
the support of the
2010?
district.
so it's the
if
whole,
legals went over
Oh, okay. We
have to cut somewhere
$30,000,
else.
something else was
Okay.
below.
yeah, we have to cut somewhere.
All right,
So
so,
I-
uniforms were
Right.
down.
Right.
So I would suggest that we actually move up the legal fees, because even if we didn't use the legal fees, even if we don't use the legal fees, next year, it seems like we're always running short on legal fees. So I would suggest we move up the legal fees, and then if we do run, we're always running over. If we run under, at least we have some type of cushion, just in case all of a sudden we get quite a few calls.
Yeah, but if you're looking at it on the bottom line, we're fine.
Well, yeah, but
Between appropriate
we have
and
such an
expended.
intangible on the firefighters, which is 50% of the support of the district. Their salaries.
If you'd like,
It's almost 50.
I could run the same numbers. I don't have those numbers with me. We can run the call numbers, and
Can you
I
run
can
them
tell
at the
you what
increase?
an officer would
Right.
be making, what the typical officer, how many calls they should be, things like that, the firefighters. We can have
I just feel uncomfortable at the 235.
I don't blame
Last year
you.
we did the 265, and we're going up 20%.
Yep, I don't blame you. I can give you some numbers on that.
So for the next time we meet next
And,
week,
and you know, if the calls went up, if you had 100 calls and 20 people started showing up for every call, yeah, you'd be.
yeah. So can you put some scenarios together for us on that? Like all of a sudden, like how many calls we had last year? Just how many calls? And actually, if you take the number of calls we had last year and just divide it into the amount, okay?
No, because our call hours, it depends on how many firefighters show up to the calls.
Right.
I can take the total number of call hours
Yeah.
for the year.
Well, that's what I
The
meant.
number of
Call
calls
hours
varies
right?
drastically.
Call hours,
Yeah.
and then and also the call hours from the year before. I just do not want to run under on the 235.
We also have it broken down on our payroll system by detail, duty man, detail, Marine, detail. You know, it's broken down to 12 different categories or whatever we have, 10 different categories. So I can break it down that way too.
I just feel
and
uncomfortable.
yes, when I saw those numbers for the first time, yes, you look at it and you go, but the majority of the people are in the higher.
Right, and we don't have. There's really no play in that 235. If all of a sudden even a majority starts showing up, and I'm thinking about it, and all of a sudden if everyone has an increase like that, they might be showing up. So
Well, I can tell you,
My
just,
other-
if you make, what do we have for calls last year, Chief? Just under 400? Just under 400. If you made every single call, and they were all an hour, it's making 100% of the calls, and you had a $4 increase, you'd make $1,600 more. That's if every firefighter showed up.
right,
1,600, 64,000 would be the increase if every single
okay.
fire, somebody showed up to every single fire and they all got a $4 increase.
So why don't just
That's
here's,
the amount of the increase
Right.
for the year,
Right.
on top of
see. I would feel comfortable with keeping
Correct.
it. I might feel
Right. Now, if that $64,000,
yeah.
would be added on top of the 120
Yeah.
or the 194 from 2010.
right.
So I, as one member, would feel comfortable with keeping, instead of the 235, keeping it at the 265 the year before, just in case. I mean, it's half of the 64, but I mean, they're getting an increase, so you might have more firefighters showing up at fires.
So you want to do that and double the legal?
Well, maybe not double legal now, just maybe only raise the legal a little bit more than what it is. Let me see.
You don't even have to look at it that way if you don't want to. If you just look at that one line
Looking at the
item
bottom
that we
line.
vote,
The bottom-
Right.
if you just look at that one, if you ran over, if you wanted to put 20 grand more or $30,000 more in, you could use it for either one of them.
Right, I want to be, as one member, I want to be clear on why we're going to increase it to 20 or 30. If we increase the 235 to 265, what we had last year, I think at least it's safe, even because of the 20%. And if they do show up to, we have more
Well, you know, if
firefighters
this
showing
was a
up.
school department, we could take the 275 and multiply it by 2.5%, and that's what we should be saying. Our budget for 2012 should be no more than that amount, and that's fiscal
Well-
responsibility.
6 times. Well, if we did, last year was 560. We're only
Yeah.
at 577 right now.
That's right, but now if we
Yeah.
add another 65,000 on
Well,
top of it,
I wouldn't say 65. I thought 30,000, just from the 235 to the 265, what we did the year before.
that's 30, yeah?
Yeah, 30,000.
Okay, so you add the 35 for legal fees.
Well, but the reality is, the
That-
legal
that-
fees are going to go up.
That's right, that's okay. So
Yeah.
if we're taking I'm not
Yeah.
arguing with you,
Yeah.
kind of proving the point.
If you take your 2.5% of the 560 that was appropriated last year, comes
Yeah.
out $1,000 less than what we're estimating.
Right.
Without increasing
Yeah,
it, we've already increased it by 2,000 more. And I'm not saying that that's what we're going to do or what we have to do, but
I just don't want to be underfunded, because this is such a.
but
it's
I
such a
also don't
variable.
want to be with an open checkbook on the taxpayers' dollars.
No.
So
But I actually think we might end up. It seems like every year we run over on the legal. So the worst case scenario is next year we run over
You're
on
not
the
running
legal.
over on the legal, but your bottom
Bottom
line
line.
number is below what we're appropriating.
Yes,
Right.
I understand. But we also have 3 more months.
No, I'm
And-
talking about 2010, the actual year that was completed.
Yeah, I'm looking at this year, right?
compare that to that, we went over on legal by 30,000,
Yeah,
but we were still
Well, we went, yeah, because we had the decrease on the
24.
firefighters, okay, by substantial.
which is
substantial
almost a
amount.
bit of luck.
Yeah, because if it was the same as what we appropriated, we would have had some issues. So that's why I'm saying if we kept the 235 at the 265, at least we're not going to run into any issues next year. Plus, the legal fee right here on the legal is definitely might be more than what we have appropriated for.
It's going to be.
It's going to be, and we know that.
But you've already gone up.
I know, but look at in 2010 how much we spent. In 2011, when we're not done, we have another 3 months.
Right, but he's already increased it by 15.
Yeah.
He's brought it up to 50 in this budget, which is, last year we didn't increase it. We level funded it from
Right.
10 to 11. So now we're increasing it by 15,
Well,
which
we
is
ha-
almost 50%.
But I think we have to, because in 2010 it was almost 100%,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden in 2011 we still have 3 more months, and it looks like it's going to go over what we
Yep.
appropriated. So we need to keep it at what it's at.
That's fine. You don't, but I was under the impression you wanted to increase
Well,
that even more.
I think it's going to be more than that, but we'll see. We reserve. But the worst case scenario is that the legal fees are more, and all of a sudden the firefighters are more, because more firefighters are showing up and they have the 20% increase. So
Exactly.
that's my concern right there. So I would feel safe if we kept the firefighters at the same amount that we appropriated last year. do you think?
We can put it out to the voters. That would put our budget at this point at 607. Support of the district at 607.
There's actually nothing on here that we can actually cut back.
No, I looked at it. There's not much.
There's got to be somewhere.
What's that percent increase? 47,000 on 560. %, 8.5%.
Well, I mean, it's a combination of that and legal fees.
Shouldn't it be going down?
That's what I was
Which one?
hoping.
Legal fees.
I wasn't
Shouldn't it be
being
going
too
down July
optimistic.
1st?
We really can't discuss that right now. I don't think we can. No, we can't. Because it's pending litigation. We cannot discuss that. But with insight, maybe, or hindsight, I should say, it's just a pattern.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
go over these. I can go over these numbers. I can take the numbers that the chief gave us.
Well, we can vote on this tonight, and then if this changes, if you come up with some, and you say, okay, we should maybe come in a little bit less, for the next meeting, we can revote that. And Ed's just gonna have to go and get his pencil out really quick, and
When do you need your final?
I'm gonna get it for it's gonna be in the Chronicle by the 13th. April 13th is the last time. They're gonna be in by then.
So if we
Alright, so-
finalize the numbers April 7th even.
yeah.
You'll
Okay.
have April 8th, you can give it to them, and we're all set.
I gotta get it to her by the 13th. That's the important part.
So you're planning on meeting next week? Is that?
We don't,
I already
we don't
know
even
I
have to
can't
meet. We don't
make
even
it
have to meet next week.
week.
We have another meeting in
They
2
do the
weeks.
7th, but it's gonna be done that night.
Yeah.
Like I say, I have to
So
have
you
it
want
by
to
the
have a meeting on
13th.
April 7th?
I will not be here. That's the first Wednesday of the month, I will not be here.
Second Wednesday a month. Wait,
No,
Seventh.
second,
wait.
not 7th.
Oh yeah, we'll have to meet the 7th. What's the second Wednesday of the month?
So I'm saying, if you need it in by the 13th.
13th is the second Wednesday of the month.
Then
Too late.
it's too late.
All right.
We can, if you want, Mr. Chair, I'll work with the treasurer, we can come back. We actually cut everything that we possibly could, was due to the pay raises. I mean, we can,
The way the way this budget is right now, the
It's
tax
lean.
rate wouldn't change a
Yeah.
cent. Would not change a cent. It
Okay.
actually has a possibility of going down a penny.
Oh,
Okay.
the way it is now. But we've added
But you've just
40.
added 40,000, 47,000, 37, whatever it is, the last number. You've added to that, so it might go up a couple pennies per thousand. And I don't know what you have for articles that the chief didn't present.
what we actually did was, Mr. Chair, we originally had a new cruiser on. We took the cruiser off, if you look, we took the cruiser off for an article, because we were going to use that money to fix the fire station. Instead of getting the cruiser and fix the fire station, we took the cruiser off so we can fix the fire station. But I will have that figure next week. You're already doing some of it, so that figure is coming down already.
Okay.
So Article 3, we want to make a 607. That's definite.
I mean, we could instead of raising it, instead of keeping the 265 last year, we can split the 265 to the 235 in between and just
And that will keep us right around.
right around right.
Right. And that will keep our line at 277. It's just come this time next year, if we're biting our fingernails, we will have to cut the duty person.
Yeah, but this next year, when we cut the duty person, that's only going to save us.
Restrict
It's
the-
only 3 months. You see, it's only
That's
3
true.
months of the
That's
40,000. So, if
But
anything,
we'll have to watch the payroll account month by month, and at some
Yeah.
point say, all right, let's cut them down on weekends. Let's cut them back, just like the chief had said. That's
is it going to cost
the
us?
agreement.
Is it going to cost us any? If we don't have the duty, is it going to cost us any more money on any other end?
The only thing not having the duty person in, the only cost it's going to be is you can't guarantee the truck's going to roll out of the station.
Okay.
That's the only thing,
Right.
because with a duty guy,
I understand.
guaranteeing
We will
that
be-
truck is going to
Okay.
roll out of the
And
station.
you know, I don't want to jeopardize public safety for $30,000.
But we did have the agreement when we went to duty on the weekend, that at any point in time, PC, that the numbers, that was where we're gonna stop. So if the PC feels in September, that we should start cutting down on the weekend.
Yeah, but if that's the
we'll
only
cut
place we can
weekend.
cut is duty, and it's because the fire engine apparatus is not going to roll out
During
like
the
right
week,
away.
During the week,
I don't think there's ever been a time the truck's never rolled out of the
The
station.
weekend, we can do with the weekend. I mean, if we had to cut the weekend.
But a weekend's
there's
not
more
really going to
guys
save
around.
us a lot.
It's going to save us 16 hours times $18 an hour
Yeah.
times
don't
52.
Well, don't start
Well-
52. We're going to be starting 6 months, huh?
Okay,
15 grand.
15
Yeah, but-
grand, which is half of the.
But that's if we stop that on weekends from day one. We're not going to know what's going on with this budget until 6 months into it. So it might save us $7,000 if we catch it like 6 months from now.
Or we stop it right now, and then say if things are going smoothly, we add it back on. Because that's half of the increase you're asking for, $15,000. Then we add it back on. If we get halfway
Oh,
through
well,
the
we-
year and we're still way under budget like now,
Well, what we can do is instead of my suggestion of the 265.
go to 235. Which,
Well, no, split the difference, the 235 to the 265, which is say 15,000. So increase it from 235 to say like 250,
it's still a savings.
and it's and just work with that.
Keep us below 600,000.
Yeah.
That's
So
something to start at.
right, so instead of 607, it would be
82. 582.
582. And that difference between from 582 is $22,000 more than last year. Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
22,000 more.
All right.
So where did you
Which
make
would
the
be about a
change?
4.
Where did you make the change?
Yeah.
Just a support of the district at 582.
Yeah, but where did you make the change?
We increased the 235 to 250 for firefighters. Okay?
And that brings that up to a 4%, which is
Okay?
Just under 4, 3.9%.
3.9, all right. Okay,
Okay, so Article 3 is,
yep.
all three agree?
yes.
Well, we didn't take a vote. We'll take a vote at the very end. Motion and a vote on the warrant.
We should do each one of each.
All right, Article 2, Article 1, we already voted on.
Yeah.
Article 2, is there a motion for the following rates? Firefighter, recruiting, 17. Detail, 18. Step 1, 22. Step 2, 20. Lieutenants, 24. Captains, 26.
House captains, that's remain the same.
Pardon? And
House captains.
and house captains remain the same. Is there a motion on the floor?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Article,
3-0, right?
right. Article 3, see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $550,000 $82,000 for the support of the district. Is there a motion on the floor?
I make the motion.
Still sticky on that.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor? Aye. Article 4.
We're down now. Right? Is that,
We down?
yeah, we're down.
No, go up. Oh, yes, you didn't have one.
You don't have one. Okay.
We have 3. All those are broken down here. See that?
Yeah.
Well, the bottom line on Article 4 is $10,000 more than last year, which is a 10% increase. Pardon?
Yeah, 113, 125.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, last year was 103,
Yep.
and this year it's 113. So that's almost 10%. More than 10%. It's about a 10% increase. So let's go from the bottom up. Tax collector, 125, the same as last year. Tax assessor, 375, the same as last year. Moderator, same as last year.
Prudential committee, same as last year.
Prudential committee, same as last year.
Oil burner, you skip that.
Oil burner inspector, same as last year.
Yeah, you can have it. That's last year.
District clerk, same as last year. Yeah, you see district clerk, same as last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so the increases are as follows.
They're right down the bottom on the sheet. They're actually broken down, so we...
Well, I see it right in front of me. But I'm just going to go from... Yeah, it's... I see where it's broken down here,
Yeah.
but over
You see
here,
the dollar figure.
I'm
for
looking
the-
at the total dollar
Yes,
set.
sir. Yeah.
So the auditors last year were $1,650
Appropriate. yeah.
appropriated. This year it's $1,800. That's presented. This is presented to our board.
Yep.
Deputy chief last year was $12,000. It is now $14,500. District treasurer last year was $12,000. Now it's $15,600. Fire chief last year was $66,600. Now it's $70,100. Those are the increases that come up to $10,000. More or less. Approximately 10. Discussion from the other board members? John or the chief, what are the other districts? Those 1, 2, 3, 4 line items. What are they at? Like district 2. What's the auditors at District 2 make? Do they have the deputy chief at District 2? What does that deputy chief make? In other words, on the other districts, what do they make? What are they?
Don't know. District 2, I don't know what the deputy chief makes. They also had 52 calls last year compared to what we had. District 3, he does not have a deputy. He has 2, I believe, assistant chiefs. They get a flat stipend, and then they get paid, I believe, the highest paid captain rate for everything else they do.
How many calls do they have?
520 last year.
Pardon?
District 2 was 820 last year.
District 3.
District 3.
It was 820. District 2 was at
Okay, wait.
58, just shy of
District 3 was 8,
20.
20?
District
was-
2 was at 58.
And what was one at?
Close to 4.
4. So
We also-
we're half of what District, I don't think we can compare it to District 3 because we're half of what they do.
Yeah, they also do a lot of, they respond to a lot more things than District 1 responds to.
Well, yeah, they have UMass, they
No,
have,
I mean,
you know,
smaller calls that we don't dispatch for, and they dispatch for. But the year before, I think they only had 600 and something calls. And the deputies, like I said, don't know, the auditors don't know, the treasurers don't know. I know the chiefs right now, and don't quote me on it, please, Chief Andrade, I think, makes $1,000 less than I make, and Chief Aruda, we don't know, because his is included.
They don't actually break it down like we do. We break down each office. They don't.
All right.
They like to combine.
public information though, we can find out. We can just request the W-2.
Right, but you're asking us if we know.
Yeah.
We don't know because they don't break them
I'd
down.
like to know, but I mean, I don't think we can compare to
They
them.
warrant, they just list the salaries, and they don't break it down like we do. We have everyone listed, they don't do that. I've seen their warrant, they just have one item for the salaries, and everybody is in there, the chief, the deputies, or whatever. It's all in one, but it doesn't break it down.
No one's questioned that?
I guess not.
The auditors are not much of an increase.
Right.
They haven't had an increase. For
They haven't had an increase for a while.
There are no
They're
auditors, and District 3
Yeah.
does not have auditors. They eliminated that position.
Okay, so we're talking $150 for the
Right.
whole year.
Yeah, okay.
So, deputy chief, and
What percent is that?
we're going from 12, 20, right? 14.5 increase. What's the percentage over the
12. More than 20.
It's,
Oh, wait, it's 12. It's about 20 something, right?
What do you got? I mean,
Let me,
2,500 is what percent of 12,000? What is that?
25 divided by 12.
20.
20%?
20.8.
All right, so the deputy chief is 20% increase.
Now, yeah, and then the next one,
Treasurer?
treasurer is 30.
And the chief.
The chief, well, see, the thing with the chiefs, I'm looking at the
contract.
past contract. I mean, we got to
It's in
negotiate
the
that.
should be kept the same, right?
Right, but that's
Same
up.
thing with the deputies, like it's 12,000.
The,
That's what was.
the contract for 2009 was 60. In 2010 was 62.5. So there's a constant. Then 2011 was 65. So there's a constant 2,500 increase. So if you want a budget
Right.
based on past, then that number should go to 67.5.
Okay.
The contracted ones, why should there be an increase in them if they're under a contract?
Well, the
It's set
contract
into
ends
the
this year.
contract.
Right.
So if it's consistent, what he's saying is if it's consistent, the net, it's 2,500, 25, 25. I mean,
We need a number to project. We haven't negotiated, we haven't done anything on that, in that area yet, but we still need to do a budget, and
we could put 50 or we could put 100, but, then it goes out. This is all voted on anyways, through the voters. But I think if we keep it consistent of what we've had it before, no one's going to question us, as far as the consistency.
well, they can question
I mean,
it,
they
but
can-
we have something to base our
Base
decision.
our decision on.
Not on
Right.
any particular thing. So, those are the three. I'm good with the 18. I'm questioning the.
Well,
That's my recommendation for the 70 is 67.5, and the other two we should talk about.
Well, if you're talking about mine, I've calculated out the average amount of time that I've spent doing this.
Mhm.
And when I used to do a lot of things for nothing, I'm calculating $25 an hour for an average 12-hour week. So where I might have included other things into my pay,
Okay, that's good to know. This number you calculated based on
it's right
$25 an hour times
it's on
your
the sheet.
20. Okay.
And that does not include benefits, vacation. It's every week, 52 weeks a year.
Okay. How did we come up at the, not me, but how did you or the chief come up at the 14.5 for the deputy and the 70?
I didn't. It's,
Chief?
The 70 was just to give the span, like I said, we were under the impression that District 2 was making 1,000 less, so we opened that up. And when it came to the deputy's contract technically is not done, so that ended up being, once the deputy's contract is done, it has to be decided, negotiated, salary, hourly, like it is now. Right now, it's a salary plus an hourly rate.
No.
So what we did was, since the firefighters got 20%, we did the deputy with the 20%. We just followed suit. That way, everybody across the board was the same. We did the same thing, I think, last year with the dispatchers. Everybody across the board got the same. Those that got it last year, we didn't put in for them this year.
What was it? Okay. You didn't figure 20% on the chief, though, did you?
No.
Chiefs, actually, it's
I mean, I was
funny.
going to say that would be quite a bit more.
The chief is based on the contract with his stipends. Those are the stipends included, all the stipends that he can
Right.
get. That's saying that's his salary plus he gets
Yeah. Well, that,
$300 for being an EMT, $500 for...
right. And I understand that because I've read the contract, this contract, but the existing chief's contract ends this year, so it's all it's negotiable anyways. Even though if we appropriate 67.5, 65, I mean, the board can determine what the amount is, give or take a few thousand here or there.
He's got several stipends.
No,
Because it comes
I'm
under-
looking at them,
Yeah.
but I'm looking at this as officers' salaries, and I'm looking at that, and I was thinking the stipends were somewhere else.
No.
So that's
Including the stipends. This includes the stipends.
okay.
Yeah, we don't have it anywhere else.
So then we should be able to take the 66.6 of 2011 if we're looking to increase the base as the past contract by
I don't know if we have the
2,500.
stipends in last year. I think we were on payroll for one of these years, maybe it was this year.
It's pretty low.
3,300, 3,300.
So we appropriated for this current year 66.
Yeah, and it went up 3,300,
Yeah.
and it's almost 30.
So if we add 25 to this, that's increasing the base pay by 2,500
With the stipends, and I remember...
with not
getting
touching the
increases.
stipends.
Right.
Okay. So we'd have to take the appropriated from 2011, the 66.6, add 2,500 to follow my theory of increasing according to the last contract.
The
which
only
was
thing that might be
negotiated.
off with that is he might have been included with the EMT stipends, or paid, I should say, out of EMT stipends, because we have a line item for EMT stipends that he gets. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So
what
it's
would
gonna
that
come
do?
out to-
That's $500.
Aside from,
So that would decrease this by 500, or increase it by 5?
it would increase it because it would be coming from somewhere else.
But if we appropriate that and it still
we
comes
can-
from the other place,
Yeah, we can actually take that and do that right now.
Actually, Kevin, if we do it, it's going to come out to close to 70.
yeah, it's going to be.
That's what it is.
I was-
100. So if
Right,
we
I
add
was
the
mistaken
25.
because of the
Okay.
stipends.
So-
Okay? Because according to the contract, this figure should have been $5,000 less. 2011 should have been 65,000. So there's 1,600 extra here.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at this as salaries.